the Florida State University Department of Interior Architecture and Design. This is our webinar to learn a little bit more about our graduate programs. I am Cristina Izquierdo Sorensen, and I'm the recruitment manager for the College of Fine Arts, which the department resides in. And I'll be serving as your MC of sorts today. We're gonna learn a little bit about our programs, talk to some of our esteemed alumni, some faculty, meet our Director of Graduate Studies, and just learn a little bit more about what we do, what we can offer here, and see if we're a good fit for you. So moving forward, our department chair is Mr. Jim Dawkins. Our graduate program director, who I mentioned, she is joining us today, Miss Yelena McLean. So she'll be able to chat with y'all about our curriculum and answer questions. We also have today joining us our academic program specialist, Rebecca Coward, who will serve in an advising capacity for you as well during your journey here with us. And then some special guests that we have, which we're so excited to have join us. We have alumni, Brittany Flock, who is a space management specialist at the Library of Congress in Washington. We've got Caroline Molso, also an alumna, principal at Zoe Studio, adjunct professor at Seminole State College, and Miss Anna Ellis, who's a current graduate student, a second-year MFA, and a TA here at FSU. So to learn a little bit more about us and to chat a little more about who we are and what we do, I'm going to pass it on over to Miss Lena McLean.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Christina. It is great to see everybody here. Thank you for joining us this Tuesday evening or perhaps afternoon, depending on where you are. We are thrilled to have you here with us, and we want to tell you all about our graduate program here at FSU. All right. So my name is Yelena McLean. Let's embark on our journey today. We have a very exciting presentation for you today. We will tell you all about our alums, what our students do, about our programs. And I wanted to start by telling you about our dynamic faculty. We have recognized leaders working in the industry, working for our department. For example, we have currently two faculty members who serve as presidents for our Interior Design Educators Council, which is a big national organization that promotes and advocates for interior design education in the United States and in Canada. We are nationally ranked and recognized program. Our alumni are featured in national magazines. For example, the Metropolis magazine's Future 100 Designers feature. Our students are there. And then, of course, we have exceptional students and alumni, who three of whom you will be able to meet today. And I wanted to start with Brittany Flock first. Brittany, hi. Thank you for joining us today, and we are thrilled to have you. Brittany is got our MFA from our program in 2018, and she is Washington, D.C. So, Brittany, maybe you could share a little bit about what made you decide to go to grad school and what your experiences were here, and what are you doing now?
Great, thank you, Dr. McLean, and it's such an honor to be here. So thank you for inviting me tonight. Yeah, I'll start a little bit with my experience in grad school, why I chose to go to grad school. I did get my bachelor's degree in the interior architecture and design program at Florida State University, and it felt like a natural fit to take that next step. And I'm going to brag a little bit about the graduate program, because the interior architecture and design graduate program at FSU is such an incredible program to really take that next step and level up your skills, your critical thinking skills, as well, and the expertise before entering the career program, the career world, right? You learn so much in the undergraduate program, but it really pushes you to the next level when you enter that graduate program. So it's super challenging, it's engaging, and it really sets you up to be highly competitive when applying for jobs. And I saw that myself when I had graduated and was applying for jobs in Washington, D.C. And when I completed my bachelor's degree, I just knew I wanted something more for myself before entering into a career. I wasn't really ready to go and be a big kid yet, I guess I could say. I wanted to grow my expertise and I wanted to dive deeper into the world of design research because I found that that's really where my passion was. And so this graduate program gave me more than I expected. It pushed me harder to become a better writer, a better designer, researcher, and a marketing agent for myself. And I got great exposure outside of campus too through many opportunities to network and also to present my work, my thesis and project work at regional and national IDEC conferences, which was such a great opportunity. It was very nerve-wracking, but it was such a great experience for me. And I had the great pleasure of becoming a teaching assistant, where I was able to be a resource for other students who were going through what I already had. And there was something just so rewarding in that. And I did make lifelong friends. I have a couple of friends from the program. We do Zoom calls every now and again. We get together. So even though we live in different parts of the country, we still stay connected. And I could also have not asked for better professors. You know, I think the professors also really make the program. I mean, of course, the content's really important too, but they challenged me to think outside of the box, always supported me in my crazy ideas, and always kept me very, very engaged in everything that I did. These professors also really just made everyone feel like family, everyone in the program, not just in the cohort, which I feel is, you don't find that everywhere. And it made William Johnson Building, or as many people know it, WJB, feel like a second home to me. And to this day, I feel like it's still a second home. But if I were to express everything good I have to say about the FSU Interior Architecture and Design graduate program, I'd be here all night. And I know we don't have that kind of time. So I do want to share a little bit with you about my experience entering into my career and where I'm at today, because it has been a little bit of a journey. So straight out of grad school, I received 3 job offers. Remember what I said about highly competitive? With architecture and design firms in Washington, D.C. And I did choose to work for Studios Architecture, which I absolutely loved. I worked mainly on program of requirements for federal agencies. And I had great opportunities to see how the firm itself really engaged their customers through vision sessions, focus groups, and other means of gathering important data for a project. I also coordinated a lot of coordinated efforts and drawings with various consultants, such as acousticians, AV specialists, MEP engineers, cost estimators, and security experts. Unfortunately, when COVID hit, like many people, I was laid off my job. But where one door closes, another one opens. And I received an opportunity, an incredible opportunity, working in space management at the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C. on Capitol Hill. Now, I do not work in the design office. I'm essentially a space liaison for my service unit, which is the largest at the library, of about 1,500 staff occupying more than half the real estate of the library properties. I do manage renovation projects, work closely with the designers, specifications, drawings, all kinds of stuff that you would expect, right? But I also do many other things. I lead various efforts such as a space optimization and master planning effort we're working on right now, research and recommendations. So we did some research and recommendations on hybrid meeting equipment, also on our Workplace of the Future initiative, because as you know, a lot of change has happened in this world over the last couple of years. And then drafting documentation for desk sharing and change management approaches to help better utilize our spaces now that most of our staff are working hybrid schedules. And even efforts that are very, very high priority for the Librarian of Congress and Congress itself. So such as vacating a leased building and moving all staff and operations to Capitol Hill campus, which is actually saving $2.72 million by turning the property back over to GSA 1 year early. So that's that's a massive effort taking up most of my time right now. So I guess the point in all of this is when you graduate with your master's degree from this program, you are well positioned to take many paths, not just one. So let your heart guide you and be open to all possibilities. So thank you for letting me share my story with you all this evening.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Brittany. And I wanted pass the baton and ask Caroline to share her experiences, give us reasons why, share with us reasons why you decided to join the program. Tell us about your experiences and what you did after you graduated.
Thank you so much, Professor McLean. And thank you, Brittany, for sharing. Fun fact for everybody, Brittany was my TA when I was an undergraduate student. So your TAs and your professors definitely leave such a mark on you. And I'm very fortunate to be a double alumnus, as Brittany is, of FSU's interior design, well, interior architecture and design program. And actually this semester, I am super, super humbled and honored to also have joined as an adjunct professor for the semester. So as you can tell, I am super, super passionate about FSU's program, and I couldn't leave, just like Brittany was saying. So I know there's a lot of us that are maybe new to the program that have joined us today. I was looking for some familiar names and faces. If you were to have me for class, you know that I can be long-winded. So I asked Professor McLean for a time limit. So I'm going to stick to my notes in the effort of not taking up all of your time. Because just like Brittany, I could talk to you all night long about how much I love FSU. So without further ado, let me stick to my notes. So the short of it is that I have always loved school, and FSU's design program was no different. I come from a family of teachers, and I truly credit my background and this faculty with my decision to pursue what I thought would be a later down the road career in academia. I have also always loved research. This originally led me down a STEM pathway. So I was originally a nursing student when I started at Florida State, but I later realized that I craved the creative outlet that my eventual career in interior design would afford me. I always tell people to look back at what you enjoyed to do as a child for what you should do as your career. Now, if you're anything like me, that might have been a vet one week and a Broadway singer the next. But two things were consistent in my passions, a passion for research and also creativity. Now, I also would constantly rearrange my bedroom, and I would also use the heels of my kids' shoes to hang up picture frames with thumbtacks. My mom was very patient with me. So that should have been a hit a little bit earlier, but I found where I needed to be eventually. I think like a lot of people, we're starting to see more representation of the interior design degree or career as it truly is. But for a lot of us, we might not have seen anything beyond HGTV. And so I didn't think personally that it was a real career. I thought, oh, that's a fun job. You know, I would love to do that, but that's not practical. I will tell you that when I first decided that I needed to change my major during my sophomore year, I remember walking to the then advisor's office and them telling me that, you know, this major isn't like HGTV and it's not just pillow fluffing. I will be honest, there are times where we pillow fluff. Personally, I work in luxury residential, so I do fluff pillows. But there is a lot more work that goes into it. And again, hearing that note of it's not just like HGTV combined with the research that I had already started doing kind of gave me the vote of confidence of, okay, let me go ahead and explore this. Let's try it out. So after I started in the undergraduate program, I then had the opportunity to start interning. So as I started interning, I got a taste for what running a small business looked like, both the good and the bad, because it is a challenge, right? With anything that we do. And this quickly became another goal of mine. And again, this is something that I thought would be later in my design journey upon graduation. But as always, life always redirects us in the paths that we need to be following. So I'm very grateful to share that at this point, I am now both the owner of my own boutique design firm, and I'm also an adjunct professor for Florida State's program and also for Seminole State as well. So never think that it's too late or too early to go after your goals. Life seldom follows the path that we plan for it, and oftentimes it's greater things that come for us sooner than we imagine. on that same vein, so we all have our own unique journeys to and through design, but having a solid academic foundation is a catalyst for a successful and fulfilling career in interior design. During my 4th year in the undergraduate design program, I had the opportunity to begin taking graduate level courses, and this expanded my understanding in design theory and also further inspired my decision to pursue my Master's of Fine Arts degree. So as we started mentioning a little bit earlier, there's 3 different pathways, and I know Professor McLean will dive into further detail here. I decided to take the MFA route because I knew that one day, 1, I had that interest in research, and 2, I knew that teaching was something I wanted to have one day in my career. Again, I thought, silly me, that it would be later on in my career, and again, I had the wonderful opportunity to do so sooner rather than later. I was able to marry my previous experience as a healthcare student. So again, I started out at FSU as a nursing student, and I also combined my interest in healthcare and higher education design, as well as a passion for well-being, into what would become my thesis project. So my thesis project actually ended up being focused on the research of well-being of healthcare students, namely nursing, PA, and MD students within informal learning spaces. So this image here you see is an example of my MFA project. So I was looking at informal learning spaces such as corridor spaces, library spaces, and gathering spaces. So not just your classrooms and your lecture halls, but where are those other areas within higher education, and even that's outside of the higher education buildings that we actually conduct work and we conduct this informal learning. I'll spare you all the details. I wrote 300 pages on it. So if you're ever bored, you could go read that. Continue on, let me find my place. Well, as I was in the last year of, or about halfway actually through my MFA, the pandemic ended up striking. And so as many of you, of course, in your own journeys have experienced, that made things change pretty abruptly, right? We went from being in person to all of a sudden being remote. And it also truly taught me that the research I was doing wasn't just important for the healthcare students, but it was also something that I really needed to remind myself of, and that was truly taking care of your well-being. So a lot of times you'll hear me often telling my students about the importance of taking care of ourselves. And even though the work we do as interior designers is incredibly important to uplifting the health and well-being of our users, that all begins with taking care of ourselves and making sure that our own health and our own well-being is taken care of. So it's also part of what you'll learn as you begin exploring interior design, that it's not just so much about the built environment and that beautiful aesthetic, but it's also about the function and also how we can manipulate human behavior for good. How can we elevate these experiences for all of our users? Continuing on, and I promise I'm almost done here. I also had the opportunity when I was in graduate school to take classes outside of the design program. And this further supported my professional career development. So I decided, and this is one pathway that you can take, again, particularly in graduate school, you have so many opportunities to explore and truly create the curriculum that is best for you. But I decided to take on the project management certificate program. It's actually offered through the College of Communications. And that allowed me the opportunity to not just be taking my interior design coursework and of course focusing on my research thesis study, but also taking some project management classes, which allowed me to delve into management theory. And then as I was getting ready to start applying for jobs, or actually a little bit sooner because I got ahead of myself, again, our pathways are all different. I actually ended up starting to work full-time as an interior design project manager during my final year of graduate school, which is definitely a challenge, you know, with your time management and again, an adjustment with the pandemic. But because I was able to go to graduate school and I was able to build this curriculum for myself and also research something that I was truly passionate about and was applicable to my career, I was able to jumpstart my career. So not to say that everybody's pathway looks different and it may not develop the same way for you, but I was able to start out in project management right out the gate, as opposed to starting in a more junior position, which might have been more traditional. Again, that said, I was doing a lot of interning throughout my undergrad and graduate school as well. So I had that professional experience that was coming into it. But I highly, highly encourage you to get that strong foundation in your education and the opportunities that are afforded to you through FSU's programs, will help develop you as a practitioner when the time comes that you're ready to start applying and ready to graduate. In that job that I mentioned, when I started as a project manager, I was able to work on projects across luxury residential, hospitality, multifamily, and mixed use. So I'm sure if you remember back to what I was saying, you might have noticed that that doesn't include healthcare and higher education, which again, that's why life changes our path, right? But what ended up happening was I realized very quickly that even though my focus was on well-being and more so related to that healthcare and higher education, I could apply my thesis research to all of my users, regardless of whether that was a commercial space or if I was designing a luxury residential space. I was able to take that same evidence-based design methodology and thinking and apply that to all of my users. So right now, I personally practice within the luxury residential sector. So a lot of my clients are in Fort Lauderdale, Las Olas area. Very, very grateful to be able to work with that high caliber client. And again, it was the opportunities that I was able to have access to during my time at Florida State that allowed me to project my career so quickly and advance so quickly. Last points that I want to make here are, again, even though our own design journeys will be unique, and from what we were talking about earlier, you can see we're all coming from different pathways, your journey will continue to evolve and develop as you gain experience, both in school and in practice, and by forming those really strong mentorships with either practicing professionals or your professors. Their knowledge and their insight is so, so critical. So I encourage you, if you are in a design program currently, or if you are looking to get into a design program but haven't yet had the chance, I encourage you to reach out to students that are currently in design school, your TAs, your professors, really get to know about their own experiences. Their insight and knowledge is absolutely incredible. And I truly, truly credit the faculty with my opportunities that I've been able to take advantage of. Again, as I said, I could talk to you all night long, so I will leave it at that. But I do want to share with you all, I am always, always happy to share about my experience as a practitioner and as a student and also as a professor. So if you would ever like to reach out to me and speak further about our program or anything else related to the design industry, I'm always happy to be a resource for that. And I will throw my email in the chat for you all so that you may access that. Thank you, Professor McLean, for giving me the opportunity to share with everyone.
Thank you, Caroline. Thank you for joining us. If
Absolutely.
our participants have any questions to Brittany or Caroline, please refrain and we will open the floor at the end and you will have an opportunity to ask questions from our participants. And we will move on to a brief overview of our programs. I will just hit the highlights. So we will start with the MS, Master of Science First Professional Degree. This is the program for students who have a degree in a discipline other than interior design or architecture. It covers interior design curriculum both at the undergraduate level and at the advanced professional project track level. And towards the end of the degree, the students, just like advanced degree programs, students in advanced degree programs will have an opportunity to defend their project, present their project in front of faculty. So it's a fast track to get both undergraduate and graduate degree in interior design. This track starts with summer admission. We only admit the entire cohort can start only in summer, and then it requires a minimum of 79 credit hours across 7 semesters. So we can move on and you can take a look at the grid with schedule. You do not, students who are in this track do not have a choice of what classes to take. We we take them through the program. Their curriculum is built in a way that each class, subsequent class, is built on the previous classes, knowledge, or technical expertise that students develop. We start with basics, foundations of design, how to think design, how to draw a line professionally, straight line. And then you will, at the end, students design beautiful, complex spaces using complex architectural software. And students learn all that in just over 7 semesters. And I think we can move on. So this is an example of work done by Zulady Gonzalez. She was our first professional degree student, and this is her final project after Studio 7. She graduated with this project. As you can see, technical rendering, complex spaces. So this is what she learned in just a little over 2 years. She lives and practices in Orlando area. She works for an architecture firm. Natasha Gilliam was another graduate student who graduated a few years ago from our program. Natasha also practices as an interior designer. She works in Tallahassee, and she works for an architecture firm, and she's one of the lead designers for them as well. Admission requirements for the first professional degree. We require that you submit transcripts from your previous institutions. GRE is currently waived for all graduate students at FSU, so this is a good time to actually apply. We ask you to fill in supplemental department application, where we just ask you about your background, questions, why you're interested in interior design, just to get to know you a little bit before you start the program. We also ask that you provide 3 letters of recommendation. If you have done any sort of creative work, it doesn't have to be design work, but photography, perhaps, drawing, anything that might enhance your application, please upload that to the portal as well. And if you are a student from countries other than US, from overseas, we have English proficiency requirements, which we can, if you get in touch with me or Rebecca, we can give you more information on that. Excuse me.
Just to chime in and let everyone know that this is all done through one application. It's very easy to do. You start your grad app, and then it's all kind of laid out for you pretty intuitively within the Florida State application. Before the end of the presentation, we will all drop our emails in the chat so that if you have questions or experience any hiccups, Rebecca, myself, Ms. McLean, or any one of my staff and my team will be able to kind of work through that and help you out with that process.
And to give you kind of orient you about the timeline for applications, you can start your application at the graduate school portal, graduteschool.fsu.edu/admissions. It will take you to the webpage where you can set up your individual application management account and upload your materials there. So application deadline for first professionals is February 1st. And the committee reviews applications on the rolling basis. So as soon as you submit, we will review it and we will make our decision fairly quickly. Christina, did you want to add anything?
No, just besides that, the earlier you apply, the sooner you'll get a decision. Rebecca works with me to filter the applications and to make sure that if you're missing anything, Rebecca will audit and let you know. So let's say if we have 2 things, but we're missing the last thing, she'll shoot you an email and keep you posted. We will work with you to make sure that we get everything that we need so that Rebecca can pass along your application to the faculty so that they can review it. For me, I think it's easier the earlier you apply, simply because it's less stressful. You'll get a decision quicker. And I know that when I was applying to graduate school, the sooner the admit decisions came out, I felt a lot less stressed through my final year in school. So just a bit of advice for that. But you do have until February. Maybe we take some time during the breaks and we start our application. Another fun thing about our application is that if you scan the QR code on this slide, that'll take you directly to the grad school page. You can start an application and you don't have to finish it all in one shot. You can save and continue for another time. Let's say you start it, you're answering some questions, you're like, oh, I don't know if I want to do a portfolio. And then you decide before the deadline that you do want to submit one. You absolutely can. So there's no pressure on that end as well.
Okay, so if you already do have a degree in interior architecture, interior design, or architecture, then you may consider one of the 3 tracks that we have. These are advanced professional tracks. 2 of them are advanced professional tracks. One is the project track. If you are not interested in research parts, in academic research, if you would rather work on a more complex project and focus in kind of on programming for that project, then you may choose a project track that we offer. The students start only in fall, again, only once a year. And this degree is a quick one. It is only a 3-semester long degree. It takes 32 credit hours to complete it. And students really usually don't even notice that how quickly the time goes so fast. In other words, students don't even notice that the whole year passed. So this is the curriculum here. Again, this is a pretty lockstep curriculum. Students take research and programming class, design issues class to prepare them to think conceptually and in depth about their project. Then in spring and summer, they work on graduate studios 6 and 7. This is where they actually develop the project. In addition to that, students take portfolio review classes and theory and criticism class, again, to help them think critically about contemporary issues in design or the spaces and spatial typologies that they are working with. So they defend their project in summer. And these are a few examples of advanced professional project track students' work. This is Abdullah Bukhari project. He was a student from Saudi Arabia. He came to us with architecture degree, so he didn't know anything about interiors. He knew structures. He knew how to design buildings kind of almost as an engineer. But then he learned the whole world of interior design and he loved it. So the project that he designed was housing for young professionals in Saudi Arabia. Thesis track is another project another track that we offer. This track is for students who are not interested in practical side, but who are interested in research side of design. And this is a good preparation for a PhD program. Again, full admission, minimum 32 credit hours for the degree. And it takes 4 semesters to graduate for this one. It's just because it takes a little longer to develop your original research project, collect data, analyze it, and then write the whole thesis. It is still very super fast, lightning fast, but students have done that. And this is, you see, some of the classes that students take will overlap with the project track graduate students, but not all. In spring, for example, students would take research methods class, statistics class. These are important classes, critical classes that help them develop their research methodology. And then they defend their thesis in the fall semester and graduate in fall. This is an example of work that also a student from Saudi Arabia defended a few years ago, Tanim Al-Jahani. She is currently teaching in Riyadh, and she is getting ready to apply to into a PhD program at the University of Liverpool in UK. So we wish her good luck and hope it works out. And then the third program is ideal for students, again, who are thinking ambitiously, who are seeking professional career advancement, who are ready to embark on the journey and combine both research and complex project as part of their work. It's a terminal degree for interior design. If you have an MFA, you can be hired at any university as a professor of interior design. Obviously for profession, the experience that you have both researching and developing, applying your research findings to a complex project is invaluable. The students graduate by defending thesis and studio project at the same time, also full admissions, and this degree requires minimum 60 hours across 6 semesters, so basically 2 years. This is a curriculum for this program. It combines project track and thesis track classes, so research and programming, design issues, theory and criticism, research methods, statistics during the first year, and then second year, Group Studio 6, 7, developing project and graduating. We also, for all 4 master's degree in interior design, we require that our students take at least 1 and sometimes 2 internships over summer semesters. This is a great opportunity to explore what you might be interested in, what you are enjoying doing or consider doing, and see if it is a good fit. This is an example of work by Eva Neri. She is actually graduating this semester in December. And she is excited. She's moving to Denver, to Colorado. She will be teaching there, and she is working professionally in an architecture firm. So she designed a space, she redesigned a library at FSU to be supportive of, to be restorative, to be supportive for students to recreate and to find a good respite between the classes during their busy semesters. So this is an example of her rendering. And here I would like to introduce our third guest, Anna Ellis. Anna is our current MFA student. So Anna, can you tell us a little more about yourself and your project and why you decided to go to school, to graduate school, and tell us about your experience and what do you hope to do?
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much, first of all, for having me speak today, Professor McLean. And thanks to Brittany and Caroline as well for sharing your experiences. I found that inspiring to myself as well, being in the program right now. So I am in the 2nd year of the MFA program right now. I'm also a teaching assistant. I also completed my undergrad degree here through the program as well. And kind of the reasoning that I found myself wanting to go to grad school is that I found that undergrad gave me a nice taste of all different facets of design within the field, all different kinds of projects. But I found myself wanting just a little bit more. I wanted to kind of find where my passion was and how to focus that. And I found that grad school was the perfect way to do so. I think that the program here is nice because it is very individualized. You can get out of it what you want. There are requirements in the curriculum, of course, like we've looked at the schedules, but there is freedom, like Professor McLean mentioned, with what your topic is going to be, especially if you choose this program where you focus on a thesis and then you have that ability to apply your research to a project. There's also a lot of opportunities for electives. I've taken some project management classes myself through the College of Communication, And then I've also taken some college teaching classes through the College of Education. So it's been a fun opportunity to kind of expand my interests as well. And it's really helped me figure out that I am passionate about research, but I'm also passionate about teaching one day as well. So for me, I have also found myself finding a lot of value in having some closer relationships with the professors and the faculty as well. That a lot of them have their own research that they do. So as a grad student, you get a better taste of where their interests are. And like for me, I actually work closely with Professor McLean. She's on my committee for my thesis. And then my major professor, Dr. Pable, as well. I found that I have very similar interests to them. So they've been great mentors in helping guide my way and expand my path in my research as well. There's also a lot of fun research opportunities outside of the department that faculty help kind of push you to apply yourself to. As you can see in this picture, last month I actually had the great opportunity to present a research poster on kind of my prospectus findings and beginning of my data collection at the IDEC regional conference. And this was in Atlanta, and I had the ability to attend lots of other presentations and meet a lot of other design professionals and professors and students like myself from other programs. So it was a really great exposure to making connections as well, but also getting outside feedback on my own work while I'm in the process, which has been amazing. And then along with that, as I mentioned earlier, I'm also a teaching assistant. I really think if you do have some interest in teaching, and if you see that down the line, even if it's not immediately, this is a really great opportunity to kind of expose yourself to that classroom setting from the professor side of things. It's been a really great experience for me and has definitely pushed that want in my future as well. So I'm planning to graduate in August 2024, so it's already coming up pretty quickly here. My time, I know I have been in the longer program, but I have also felt like it's flown by, honestly. It's kind of insane to think I'll have been here for 6 years by the end of everything. But yeah, I'm hoping to go into the design field first and get some experience and practice. And then after that, maybe someday find myself teaching as well. So yeah, I really enjoyed the program a lot. Definitely happy to be a part of it, very satisfied with the program. And like Caroline said, I'll also put my email in the chat. I'm happy to talk with anyone if you want to have a deeper conversation or just send me an email with any questions you have. Yeah, I'm happy to help and share anything else with you all. So thanks for being here and listening.
Yelena, you're muted. Sorry.
Of course. Thank you, Anna, so much for sharing your experiences with us. We're thrilled to have you here. To conclude our conversation about the programs, for the advanced professional degrees, we have opportunities to have teaching assistantship. This is the position that asks for 10 hours of commitment per week from students. We also offer tuition waiver accompanied. Typically, it is a 9-hour stipend to cover 9 hours of tuition. And those students who are interested in teaching assistantship, they must apply by March 4th. This is an important deadline. It helps us plan the next semester. Also wanted to mention the first professional students in their second year also have an opportunity to apply for assistantship. So we look forward to ways to support our students, and it's important for us as well. We recognize that graduate school can be expensive. The admission requirements for the advanced professional programs are as follows. We ask you to submit your transcripts. GRE is waived. Supplemental department application and teaching assistantship application. They're two different applications, but it's important again that you fill those in. 3 letters of recommendation. We also ask for your student or professional portfolio. For MFA students or those who are interested in thesis track applications, we ask you to submit an academic writing sample. It could be a paper from a class that you wrote something. That's typically, or if you publish something in blogs or magazines, you can also submit that too. And then there are English proficiency requirements for the students from overseas. In terms of timeline, again, start application at the graduate school webpage. Upload your applications and upload your materials. March 1st deadline. For advanced professional students, there's another layer. You will be after you submit your materials, we take a look, and then the committee may recommend that the director of graduate studies schedules an interview with you. In which case I will contact you, and we will have a phone call, and then the committee makes admission decisions on their rolling basis as well.
Quick plug for applying early. I'm like a broken record, but funding and assistantships, that is on a first come, first served basis. So again, if you're interested in these programs, for the first professional, we cannot offer funding until year 2, but for those going into one of these professional programs, you can absolutely apply for assistantships. That is all available within your application status check, same application, but the earlier you do it, the earlier we get eyes on your application so that you can be considered for funding.